The 1990s continued on, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise did the same. Unfortunately, the party was starting to diminish for the Green Foursome. In 1993, children discovered a new bunch of superheroes thanks to the duo of Chaim Saban and Shuki Levy. After the box office saw tremendous success with a small dinosaur-themed film called Jurassic Park, those old fossils were starting to look all shiny and new. Saban Entertainment introduced a brand new show about 5 teenagers clad in bright colors and through the power of the dinosaurs became the superhero sensation of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Ironically, taking plenty of themes similar to the Ninja Turtles, no one seemed to figure that out, and once again, the Turtles took one more big hit. Up until this point, the CBS Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon had already seen much success. By the time the show was heading into its 7th season, viewership was starting to thin. Along with the Power Rangers, famous superheroes were also making a huge splash on the small screen. Until 1996, the worlds of DC and Marvel Comics made a big break on Saturday mornings and weekday afternoons. Batman the Animated Series, X-Men the Animated Series, Spider-Man the Animated Series, and the newest kid on the animation block, Superman the Animated Series, hit it big after numerous Emmy wins by his Caped Crusader counterpart. Even Disney gave the action cartoon a go with their now cult favorite Gargoyles. The Turtles were indeed in need of a major overhaul if they wanted to stay in the running with all of these new shows. In 1994, another big hit was delivered to the Turtles. The cartoon was now only being shown for a half an hour, when in the height of the show's popularity, it was given a whole hour, and only 8 episodes would be airing in the show's next season. The Turtles were finally given a serious overhaul when Season 8 premiered. The tone of the show became more about the action and less about the family-friendly comedy. New York would suddenly be cloaked under a blanket of a blood-red sky, similar to Batman the Animated Series. The Turtles themselves were given a more threatening look and more challenging situations. Even bigger changes, including James Avery and Rob Paulsen leaving the voice cast, and characters like April became less of a presence in the show. The Turtles would finally see the end of Shredder and his goons, but at this point it seemed that it was too little, too late. After a year of trying to breathe new life into a show that practically dominated the airways for almost a decade, it seemed that all hope was lost. Even after introducing a whole bunch of new villains, especially the dark and sinister Lord Dreg, in 1996, the final few episodes had the Turtles meet their final showdown with Lord Dreg, and even Shredder and Krang would have their last day in the sun. The show would see its last episode air on November 2nd, 1996. It would be hard to imagine a world without the Ninja Turtles, especially after becoming true pop culture icons. By this point in time, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventure comics ended their run a year prior, and all those competitors were still a dominant force on television. The spirit of the ninja was still in the hearts of many young fans, and Saban Entertainment was taking advantage. The Power Rangers had already seen a similar success story. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Power Rangers spawned merchandise in all areas that the Turtles did before, even a feature film. By the time the Turtles went off the air, Power Rangers Zeo had taken over the airwaves, continuing the story where the first series left off. Saban Entertainment also created a bunch of new shows that didn't fare as well. Shows like VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, and the Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Suddenly an idea was hatched to possibly bring the Turtles back to the glory that seemed so far away. The Turtles franchise was brought to the popular kids in TV Town. In 1997, Saban Entertainment said that they would gladly take the task of creating a brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV show. Saban Entertainment introduced a brand new live-action show called Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. Along with being live-action, the show would introduce many new elements to the Turtles' world, including a female mutant turtle called Venus de Milo, and a brand new group of enemies known as the Rank, led by the vicious Dragon Lord. Some called this new show a continuation of the 1987 TV series. Instead, the series followed the story of the live-action films, but the films and the series displayed different styles, including the Shredder being alive and no longer Super Shredder, and no April O'Neil or Casey Jones. The most obvious changes were the overall look of the now 5 Turtles, along with their weapons and costumes, but the turtle attitude managed to stay the same. Some also believe that the show was based on scrapped ideas for a 4th Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film that originally was planned to be released in 1994. Now being a team of 5, the Turtles would return for a short while to the public eye. One of the biggest gifts was the crossover episode with the Power Rangers. 1998 featured the Turtles in the 4th Power Rangers series called Power Rangers in Space. While the episode received solid ratings, it was just not enough to keep the Turtles on the air. The Next Mutation, while it did receive strong viewership, was cancelled after only 1 season. At this point, it was clear. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were no longer welcome. For the first time in 10 years, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were off of television, and at this point in time, they seemed to have been wiped from pop culture altogether. The comic books didn't want them, the video game world didn't want them, and as far as the horizon was looking, it didn't seem like there was any hope. The late 1990s into the early 2000s saw pop culture take a different shape with the assistance of new forms of technology. The digital monster was now the big craze, as virtual pets flooded the market in every which way. The film industry saw the revival of Star Wars thanks to the first installment of the prequel trilogy, and a boy wizard got a whole new generation putting their noses back into the pages of books. The video game industry saw the trends come and go, from a one-on-one fighting game to first-person shooters, and at this point, the arcade had also phased out of existence for the most part. The internet was now a powerful tool for information, and many new cable networks introduced new kinds of animated programming for both kids and adults. Even a massive influx of shows from Japan would flood the airways, making anime for the first time a household name in the western part of the world. It was that concept that led to something amazing. The fall of 2002 would see an unusual pop culture shift, a backward shift. A sudden burst of 1980s nostalgia swept over the land, and names like He-Man, Thundercats, and the Care Bears were making their ways back into the hearts of old fans and cultivating new ones. This would also include a whole new wave of toys, and more importantly, new television shows. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! In 2003, it was time to wax up those old shells and bring the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back with a new TV series. In the midst of the 80s nostalgia boom, Fox added the foursome to their Saturday lineup. The new show, with the same name, was based closely on the Mirage comics. Considering at the time comic book characters such as X-Men and Spider-Man were taking the theater earnings by storm, it was only proper to make them more like the comics and less like the cartoon. All the characters were more complex individuals, and the Turtles had a stronger family bond. The tone was also more serious, with greater emphasis on action. Leonardo and Raphael would often pick fights with each other. Michelangelo was now very obsessed with being cool and famous, and Donatello seemed to be taking his inventions to new heights. The series covered a large scope of the Turtles' adventures, taking them from the sewers to the streets of New York. The first several seasons focused on the Turtles' battles against the Shredder and the Foot, as well as another gang from the comics known as the Purple Dragons. The show created a new buzz, and once again the Turtles were back on the scene, and for a while, it seemed to be just the same as their big first television run. After 4 strong seasons of the new show, something interesting happened. The show received its very first major format change, in the 5th season known as the Ninja Tribunal. The new season focused on a new threat presented by another version of the Shredder, said to be the original legendary villain of Oroku Saki from feudal Japan. The Turtles were asked by the Ninja Tribunal to train alongside several other human warriors to become strong enough to battle Shredder. This involved the Turtles gaining new weapons, learning how to channel their chi into powerful projectile weapons, and finding their inner animal spirit. The show also brought a side of the Turtles to the fans that we had known so little about. A section of the season took the Turtles back in time to the days of their youth. featuring the story of their training to become the heroes that we've known for all these years. To see a coming-of-age story for the Turtles added a whole new dimension and character depth thanks to this brand new season, and it sparked a huge interest in the show with more fans who would flock to see something brand new and exciting. With the Turtles back with mainstream acceptance, the fans were promised another big surprise from their heroes when they would return for their show's 6th season. It was now time to focus on another revival. This time, the Turtles would make another attempt at the big screen, although this time, the Turtles would be seen like never before.